Well, hello again, folks. We're back in Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now, at the end of the previous episode, I said in this one, we'd actually go ahead and buy a truck. So we're going to take a loan from the bank, 300,000 euros, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So the nearest truck dealer we know of is actually in Birmingham, where we already are. So we're going to head there and buy a truck. So I'm not going to be too fussy about getting all the nice upgrades on this one, because I don't actually necessarily expect to be driving it for very long. So I'm going to go with the standard cabin. I'm going to go with the standard chassis as well, because it's so much cheaper than everything else. So I'll save some of that money for getting a nicer truck next time to use for longer. I am going to upgrade the engine to a 480 horsepower jobby. And the transmission, I'll keep that as the same, 12 speed. We'll take the standard UK interior, because we are most likely going to be sticking to the UK with this truck. Like I say, I don't expect to stay driving this truck for very long. So I'm not really much of an achievement hunter, but one achievement that does stick out to me in this game is the achievement you get for driving each brand of truck for, I think it's 999 kilometers. And that sticks out to me because I've been playing this game for many years, and I've driven every truck for far in excess of that 999 kilometers. But I've never unlocked the achievement because I haven't driven all the trucks on any one profile. So that's an achievement I expect, I hope, I will pick up at some point on this profile, on one of my videos at some point. So with that sort of aim in mind, the first couple of trucks I get, I will probably drive for the 999 kilometers and not very much more, which is also why I plan to start early on with getting trucks that are not necessarily my favourite trucks to drive. So most of the things on this I will keep basically vanilla, unless it doesn't cost very much more to upgrade. I'll go to the Michelin's on here. It's a little bit pricier, but not drastically more. I will spend the extra money on the nice side skirts because they do look good. I won't bother with a new exhaust though. So if we go to the interior, we get here. See, I definitely want a sat nav. Now I know these ones you can put here are a little bit small sometimes for being able to see the speed limit in particular. So I'm going to try putting one on the windscreen because I think you can get bigger ones there. So probably the tablet GPS is probably the sort of thing we want to go with. So I'll go with that. I'm going to stick a Cherry Wunderbaum air freshener there, and then some stuff just to make the truck feel lived in. This is all from Sissel's Mega Pack, which is it's good at what it does. It doesn't really add anything useful, but it adds a lot that's sort of immersive, because the interiors of the truck in the vanilla game feels a little bit clinical, a little bit sparse, a little bit unhomely. And to be honest, it does after the Mega Pack as well, because it's only so much that Sizzle's mod can really offer. But it helps a bit. It helps a little bit to make the truck feel just that bit more alive, a little bit more personal, which is obviously a very welcome thing. So I'm going to put a few little things in. I'll find anything I want. Let's have a... Ooh, well, probably have a wallet. The Scania wallet, even though I'm not driving a Scania truck. Let's have a phone. We'll have a... what else should we have? Maybe we'll leave it at that for now. I know over here we're going to stick... oh, apparently we can't. Okay, I thought there was an option to put the telepass and so on over there. That doesn't seem to be an option in this truck at least, unless the mod has just simply changed since I last did that. So we'll put a holdall and we'll put a cool box. And we'll put a compass. I'm not sure what the difference between these compasses is. They seem to have slightly different reflection qualities. So we'll go with that one. And that should do us, I think, for now. So we'll purchase that truck. And now we can start doing jobs from the freight market rather than from the quick job section. So let's see what's available. From here in Birmingham, we have some wood shavings to Liverpool, but that's just back up the road that we went on twice in the previous episode. So maybe let's not do that. We could go to London with some wooden beams. We could go to Cambridge with some empty pallets. Grimsby with used car batteries. So that seems like an interesting option, because Grimsby is then it's quite well connected. Sort of a gateway to 2 ports in Europe, and also roads to various other places in England. So let's take that. We'll go to Grimsby with the... Actually, we'll take the smoked sprats because it pays marginally more. And we'll need to fix this field of view and seating position and so on. I think that'll do. And we can actually get rid of that now because we have the sat-nav, which actually I maybe would have chosen to place a little bit lower. I do have a bit of an issue that's occurred with this game since the last episode. Well, not so much with the game as with my wheel. Because I updated the Logitech software, and since doing that, the wheel now feels a lot looser than it did before, in terms of it doesn't fight back when I turn it nearly so much. It feels like there's far less tension. And although I wouldn't necessarily want there to be too much tension, I don't want it to feel like I'm lifting weights every time I turn a corner, I do like to have a little bit. And when I get into the higher gears and get the speed up, it does then kick in a bit. But at lower speeds and in lower gears, it's just non-existent. So, for instance, there's nothing. And it's a little bit jarring, I've got to be honest. And I have no idea. So the smoke sprats we came here for, I think we've gone to the wrong place. Never mind, we'll take the empty pallets to Cambridge. That's good enough for me. So yeah, it is a little bit jarring, because I do like not to fight with the wheel, but to actually feel it, if that makes sense. So I have had to play around with the software, and I've had to play around in the game settings as well, and nothing seems to want to work to go back to the way it was. So I'll probably have to sort of ask around online, maybe on Reddit, maybe on Logitech forums if they have any. I'm not actually sure if they do. I assume they do. Just see if anyone else has had a similar issue, and if so, how they resolved it. And then hopefully, before too long, I should have it back the way I like it. I don't know if it's just affected this game, or if it's affected ATS as well, because I haven't tried playing that in the last day or two. So that may be something I want to ascertain before taking that any further. But I'll muddle through for this episode, and I'll hope to fix it soon. See there, at a certain point it just kicks in and is suddenly very, very firm in its resistance. But for the first good chunk, there is no resistance at all. Is that about 30 degrees each way, I think? With no resistance, and there's no resistance at all at any angle on the lower gears, as I say, on the lower speeds. Okay. Now we can pick some speed up. Get the lights on just for a little bit of extra illumination. There's no harm in having the lights on, even when it is daylight. It looks like we're getting some rain here as well, which, given that we are driving around England, should be no surprise, really. We're certainly no strangers here to a bit of precipitation. In fact, where I live, I think it rained just about every day for about 6 weeks in the run-up to Christmas. So that was unpleasant. I got caught in it several times. Changes so quickly as well. I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but here the weather changes so quickly. Always has done. You look out your window, you see a blue sky, you see the sun shining. 10 minutes later, it's chucking it down, it's windy, it's grey, it's miserable. And I'm speeding. I thought these motorways had a more permissive speed limit than this one apparently does. I know a lot of the stretches of motorway in the game will allow 60 miles per hour, which is 97 kilometers per hour, apparently, for a truck. So I think this stretch here is going to allow that. Yeah, indeed it does. 97 kilometers per hour, 60 miles per hour, which is actually, I think, the highest truck speed limit in the game. There are other parts of the map, such as in France, I believe, and in Belgium, I think, and possibly some other places that allow 90 kilometers an hour. I know I shouldn't be in this lane in a truck. Never mind. But most of the ETS2 map has, or most of the countries rather, have an upper limit of 80 kilometers per hour, which is 50 miles per hour, which is rather slow. In fact, in many places, you won't even be allowed to do that 80 kilometers per hour, because that only applies on the largest, the widest roads, such as in Germany on the autobahns. So much of this game has to be taken at a modest pace, but that's okay, because it's not really the sort of game where you need to be in a rush everywhere. It's not a racing game where you have to get from A to B as quickly as you can. It's more about getting from A to B as safely as you can without destroying your truck or the cargo, but still within the time limit. But the time limits the game imposes are generally quite generous and forgiving. I'm not sure what happened there. Made a sort of funny noise. Jerkiness on the wheel as well. So there's no problem with the force feedback on this wheel, in the sense that it'll rumble, it'll shake, it'll vibrate. It's just in terms of the resistance when turning, I have an issue. At this sort of speed, it's fine. It's more or less as it should be. Perhaps still a little bit loose, but it's perfectly within reason. So on the motorway is not really an issue. In the urban sections, very, very off-putting. Slow down a little bit here. So these ramps are rather narrow. And these trucks not especially nimble. Okay. We are back on track. I don't think there's a great deal further to go. Seeing Cambridge appear on the road signs now, as is Felixstowe. I mean, these aren't huge places. They don't necessarily appear on the road signs until you're within a reasonable distance. I noticed as well Norwich was on that road sign. As I noted in the last episode... Oh no, it's Harwich. Never mind. I was going to say, as I noted in the last episode, Norwich is one of the places I'm surprised isn't in the game. But the sign says Harwich anyway, so that's a completely different place. Although, as far as I'm aware, that's also not in the game. Unless it is just as one of the ferry ports. I'm not sure. Because the ferry ports in the game do tend to be sort of separate entities. Satellites of the main cities. Which is actually perfectly reasonable. The only issue I have with that really is that Portsmouth is not in the game, and I wouldn't necessarily expect it to be. It's not a particularly large city, and it is quite close to Southampton, which is larger, perhaps too close to Southampton to realistically fit them both into the much condensed map that this game by necessity uses. But Portsmouth is, of course, a major ferry port. It's one of the main routes across to France. The other ones being Dover to Calais and Folkestone to Calais by the train, and Plymouth to wherever the hell the ferry from Plymouth ends up. I always thought it was Cherbourg, but on reflection, that may actually be the one from Portsmouth that goes to Cherbourg, and the one from Plymouth may go to Le Havre or Roscoff, possibly. Pretty sure it's not Brest. That would be quite the scenic route. Though I have to say, Brittany is a lovely, lovely region. If you're fancying a trip to France and you haven't been to Brittany, definitely consider it. There's some beautiful countryside there. There's some beautiful, beautiful medieval architecture there. And there's some good food there to boot. Lovely area. I would happily go there again. I'm not sure if Brest is as attractive as the rest of Brittany, because I don't think I ever actually got as far as Brest. But the places I did go were very nice. So our destination is one of those in there. Looks like it's the TNT place, is it? On the Carrefour. Okay, so we're going to back it into that space there as requested. Shouldn't be too difficult in this yard. Just try not to hit the trailers that are parked around and in that case slightly sticking out. Okay, that should do. Stick it in reverse. And that looks like being another job finished. Not sure why the camera angle's gone a bit funny there. Maybe that's my center point. That would make sense. Okay, so that's job done. We'll call that a wrap there. And in the next episode, we'll see where we end up next. We're heading out of Cambridge. Maybe go somewhere else that we haven't yet been. Well, given that we've only been to Birmingham, Manchester, and now Cambridge, that shouldn't be too difficult. I'm going to put this skill point into long distance so that we can get some slightly longer jobs. We've got an email telling us that there's special transport jobs available, though I'm not sure if there's actually any from Cambridge. Doesn't look like it, so we won't be doing one of those next episode. But we will be doing something, and we will be trying to get to somewhere else that we haven't already been. So thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. I've been Magnus Modestus. This has been Euro Truck Simulator 2, and I hope to see you along for the next one. Goodbye.